Some people hate surprises.
That's awful. I'm really sad now for Bob Kelly.
You know who loves surprises?
Who's that?
Children.
Children do like surprises.
Kinder surprises.
They do.
Look at that. The name. It's right there. Kinder. What does kinder mean?
Kind? Children?
Children.
I don't know.
Kinder means children.
I don't speak candy, ironically.
What do you think a kindergarten is?
Minus grade 1.
Yes, but what do you think the words mean? What's the etymology? It's a child garden.
Oh. Is that where you grow them?
Anyway. Yes. This is where you grow the children.
Well, no one has time to know what words mean.
Okay, well anyway. Kinder surprise. Child surprise. Kids love
I don't
surprises.
like that. I don't like a child surprise. That seems negative.
Well, then you shouldn't purchase any of the child surprises. Don't buy any then.
You know what my favorite part about the surprise mechanic thing is? This is like, E3 was what, 2 weeks ago? Right?
Or
like,
so.
Tops. EA had people on stage going, no loot boxes in official marketing capacity. But we don't use that term. We don't call them that. But you're using the negativity of the term you popularized to sell things.
Loot boxes represent something interesting in the sense that, like, it shows you how quickly, you know, a company will catch on to people, like, absolutely despising something.
Yes.
But the proposition is just too great to ignore.
It's legal gambling.
And we've seen it. It started, I want to say, like, the first step into the realm of, like, it's not just a game you're buying anymore, is like when DLC stopped being expansion packs and it started being like single piece content.
You
right?
mean like
MMOs. I want to say MMOs started it, but I don't know if that's true.
No, because MMOs existed for like 15 years before any of this kicked
But
in.
did those MMOs sell you items and or individual things or gold?
They sold expansion packs.
Not gold.
The buy items. No. Gold buying was always illicit.
Yeah.
And the buy fancy pretty horsey
horse armor came late in the game. I remember that. That came late in the game.
Buy fancy horsey mount for $10 or whatever. That came after horse armor. And it came with it got really, really big popular with free-to-play MMOs because they needed you to buy something.
Because, like, once upon a time, we always talk about it, but it's like, you got Brood Wars, and it's like, yeah, that's a second, that's a second half game.
That's a second StarCraft.
Right? You're buying, it's a half a craft.
Yeah, StarCraft
right?
1.5.
Yeah, it's a half craft you bought. But, like, you know, you needed the original one because it needed all those files. But whatever, right? You didn't feel any way about that. But it got into the first, like, there was this little bit piece of, like, DLC thing, and then eventually, you know, DLC complaints got more and more, like, elaborate as time went on. But we also saw more games like going, okay, we have to invest heavily in a post-launch program to have seasons of content.
I know where to point the finger. There's two fingers to point, right? One is buy the item as big popular.
That's what I'm trying to get at. That's what I asked, yeah.
And then the other is like your game is shit unless it's a live service. There's a reason it's called hats. There's a reason people joke about buying hats. Is because TF2 went fucking like ass in on the hats.
Yeah.
And
now,
you didn't buy them from Valve most of the time. You bought them from other people
that made their hats. Yeah. Now, the thing is I guess it doesn't really matter where the origin is. It's just for conversation. But, like, the point is that there's a couple steps you take, right? And you start with content. That's one single piece, you know, or consumables, right? That was the next level of it where you're like, oh, my God, it's not even like, it's like you can keep buying this shit, right? Or whatever. Then you go towards the games as a service idea, live services, and like how appealing that is, because it's like, oh shit, MMOs are getting money every month. Other games that are not MMOs are not getting money every month.
Can we do that?
Right. And then
while not using any of that money for the overhead MMOs usually use.
Yeah. And in the meantime, overseas, across in the Asias.
In the far off Far East.
Some parents might say the Orient.
Yes.
Right? You had the perfection of the gacha that happened on phones in like not even like early smartphone generation. You know, you had that stuff started to come out, and we didn't at all have gacha over here. We didn't have not even gacha. I say gacha, but it's not really gacha. What I accurately probably want to say is like games that like have you buying in based on like time locked gameplay, or you buy something that'll speed up the process to when you can play again, or things where you're slot machining with a credit card on this phone game.
I gotta say, Japan's strict gambling laws have created two forms of insanely popular, not technically gambling industries in pachinko and gacha. Like, it's kind of astonishing that, like, I think gacha is obviously more successful than pachinko because pachinko is pretty regional overall. And you have to jump through, like, a stupid amount of new hoops. Like, okay, you take the steel balls over to the place that's a separate place from the pachinko place, and they'll give you a prize. Like, but gacha is just genius. You can make people gamble for nothing. You can have them gamble for literally nothing.
I mean,
but it's not gambling.
Yeah,
it's a surprise.
Well, it should be obvious at this point that like people will like bend over backwards to gamble on absolutely anything they can.
Gambling's fun.
You know,
it gives you a good burst of I won in your brain.
Fun is one word.
Yeah.
There's many other operative words, but that's one of them.
It is a word.
And eventually, whatever you get to this point where you can actually just process exactly how much discontent there will be on the release of a product, so that you can dial it back to a range that is still insanely profitable.
Yeah, that's been going
I've talked
on.
about it a couple times where it's like your frustrations and anger and discontent are literally calculated in the pricing point.
And the times that
for
really
post-game
blow up
content
are the times in which whoever was
Post-release.
responsible for doing that math forgot to carry a 1, and you end up with stuff like Battlefront, in which they were like, uh-oh.
Or For Honor on launch.
Yeah,
or
undersold
MK11
this.
launch. Yeah.
Oops.
Yep. So yeah, it's a really interesting timeline we follow as like we get to this point where now like Western companies are taking like those gambling practices from the shit that was perfected across the ocean and incorporate them here, see insane amounts of profit, and if left unchecked, admittedly, we will go way further. I can't conceptualize what it would be, right? Because everything that I can think of makes me like just laugh. As like, could you imagine you're playing a game and oops, you died, buy another life, right? Like almost like an arcade machine,
You mean
except
like
it's in your home.
Kojima's fucking wet dream from decades ago?
Yeah, right. Except it's a game that is like you die all the time. Like it's a fucking Super Meat Boy. You know what I mean? Like it's like an arcade play style at home situation. I couldn't like that sounds laughable.
I don't want you to underestimate the strides that FIFA made with Ultimate Team to this future. Like we have Gacha in the East, but out in the West with I think his name was Andrew Wilson at EA. Like boy, did they put the time in to get those soccer players.
Now, the was that now that's you see the thing with that is though that's applying that feature on top of a game that you've already purchased, right? FIFA is not free, right? I see Let It Die being mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the thing that lets anyone sleep at night is the fact that Let It Die is a free game.
Yeah.
So if you like Let It Die, I don't know how much do you like it? Do you like it $20? A lot? Do you like it zero a lot? Do you like it $60 a lot?
Yeah.
Right? There's an idea of you starting at a negative where other games you would have started at $60.
Yeah. So for example, I put a couple $100 in Warframe easy. Totally worth it. I didn't have to. I could have played Warframe for freeze.
Yeah. Right?
But, okay. If I had bought Warframe I would not have put nearly as much money into it after I burned myself like a crazy person on the Overwatch.
Imagine if there was a restaurant where all the food was really, really cheap,
Uh-huh.
but you were encouraged to tip generously, and the service was like over the top incredible.
I would tip like crazy.
Yeah, probably more almost
Way
than you
more.
would have on a normal dish
Possibly spend more overall
in general
on the trip. Yeah.
right? And that's kind of the business plan in a way, right? This
And
is
there's a 1 in 100 chance the waiter will give you a hand job under the table.
sure that might happen if
1
you
in
get
100. It's advertised right on the wall.
Now, what's important is not the actual hand job, but it's the lights and the shimmer and the vibration of
Because everyone cheers
right.
around you.
Yes,
while it
no,
happens.
the moment that you reach in the hat and you pull out the thing to see if you won. When you do win,
Yeah.
there's like a
And there's confetti that shoots out.
and even when you fail, the you didn't
Better
get
luck
it.
next time.
Yeah, but that moment of buildup definitely puts something in your brain that gets you
Yeah.
close to thinking, almost got a handy.
Yeah. Hey, maybe I should just buy another meal.
Tip a lot.
Yeah.
Tip a lot for sure. Yeah. So you have this now where obviously before shit gets out of control, because guess what? If history proves anything, it's if you do not stop this shit, they will go as far as they possibly can until someone else comes along and does so. You have countries now going, are you
serious?
are you making kiddie casinos right now?
It's funny because
Are you actually making kiddie casinos?
like everyone's been disappointed with their local and federal governments at some point, but nearly every country that everyone listening to this has a federal body dedicated to nothing but slapping down people running bullshit casinos.
And
they love slapping down bullshit
Yeah.
casinos.
and I want to say that the country's leniency depends on how much they've been brought in on the deal rather.
Uh-huh.
And countries like Australia have zero part in the deal whatsoever.
Yeah.
And are very happy. In fact, want to grandstand and platform the part where they televise them going, hey, how about I slap your shit? How about you fucking stop?
Woo.
Which leads us to, of course, the fucking hilarious story this week. That is, they're not loot boxes, they're surprise mechanics, and they're quite ethical.
It's how do I put this? If you've hit the point where you're in front of a panel of officials and the word no, it's fine though comes out of your mouth, you're probably an asshole and you're probably full of shit.
So here's the thing, though.
No, ducks totally love drinking oil.
But here's
They love it. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Here's the thing, though, right? Every step along the way, yeah, I kind of forgot my point, and I talked around it for a while, and I think I just remembered it. It said every one of those steps along the way, whether it was the horse armor or the these little, or the models are already on the disc, but you're buying the 2 kilobyte unlock for this content.
I didn't care about that until Cross Tekken pushed it way too far. I was like, I completely understood the reality of making DLC and that you work on it while it's going gold and all that, right up until Cross Tekken said, okay, here's 10 characters. It was 10, right? It was crazy.
So, or 12.
And
10
they're
or
all
something.
there.
Yeah.
And not only are they all there, people with Game Sharks are playing as them right now.
Yeah.
Plus wait a year.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It got very absurd. It got really, really frustrating to anybody that was going, why? It's I own it. It's here. I purchased this stuff. Really? Okay, cool.
There was no lawsuit over it, but there's a legal challenge to be made that you own that stuff.
Right. And all of these things result in fixes that require drastic pullback, right? But the thing about loot boxes is, again,
Racket's too much money.
it's too much.
It's too much.
It's too high. It's the level of success, the level of the amount you rake in it's casino money. It's
Yeah.
what built Las Vegas, right? That's the level we're talking about, and it's so much higher than the loot box thing, than the cosmetics thing,
Yeah.
than the extra characters thing, than the horse armor thing,
It's a
than
golden
the glam
goose.
thing. It really is that much higher that they will happily sit in a courtroom or before a fucking panel and sound like assholes because it doesn't matter how much they sound like assholes. It's so worth it.
And it's this weird thing where it's like, okay, if you piss on this person heading this panel and tell them it's raining, you might be hastening the downfall of the thing you're trying to say. If you keep going this hard instead of dialing it way back and keeping it under the radar, you're endangering this revenue source. But at the same time, oh man, there's so much money. Just push, And you know what makes me think of? It makes me think of. So Activision Blizzard is a big. Activision Blizzard and EA are the two ones that we talk about a lot, in that they love this shit. And it makes me think of an interview with Bobby Kotick like a year after he started there, which was he came in and he said, we're here at Activision, we're looking at properties that have a lot of value that we can exploit every year. And then ran Guitar Hero into the dirt.
Yes.
And it died.
Yes.
And then almost ran Call of fucking Duty into the dirt until it almost died. Ran WoW into the dirt until it's like in the worst shape it's ever been. It's this real like just you burn it out, burn it all out, just get as much as you can. Like no thought about next quarter even. Well, not even next year.
I mean, it's reminiscent of like you're basically. I'm gonna say you're gonna Martin Shkreli the situation when you get in front of a panel and you have to answer questions that are blatantly like, are you creating gambling for children? Is this what you're doing?
No, you're Mark Wahlberging like no,
but like,
of course not.
But like the fucking the Shkreli bit, it's like, yeah, man, these fucking pills, like this pharmaceutical game is so profitable that I'm gonna act this way, that I'm gonna be like this because it's stupid
Martin,
money.
Aren't you worried that this kind of behavior is gonna have everyone looking at you to see if you shit your pants and then send you to jail? Oh, I'm not too worried about it.
EA representative pulls out the new Wu-Tang album. Exclusive, purchased for only EA employees.
But yeah, for real, it's short-sighted. If they let's say Battlefront 2 hadn't happened. Because Battlefront 2 is currently, in my mind, the high water mark for are you serious? That game was, like, gutted by its loot box stuff. And it was the Star Wars, everything that everybody knows, right?
It's Star Wars.
Right? So they saw, hey, man, because it's Star Wars, we can make Infinity times $2 billion, right? But if that game hadn't come out, we wouldn't be talking about this shit for another 2 to 3 years. Because it would have taken that long to build up. And EA would have made so much more money over that time.
Well, this is where, like, corporations and, in general, large companies, like, I remember taking a class on multinationals, right, back in college. And, like, the whole talk about how they take on properties like human beings.
Yeah.
And basically, it's like you're acquiring wealth. That's your one goal.
Yeah.
There's an aspect to this where, like, the smart quote-unquote thing to do would have been to, in theory, put the frog in the pot and slowly turn up the heat.
Yeah, so the frog doesn't jump out.
Right? But the moment you saw how successful the first iteration of this was...
You saw how delicious that frog could be.
And you hire people / you have people on board whose job it is to analyze the situation
and tell you how delicious the frog is,
and see how you can create the maximum juices.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, well, if we can create the maximum juices in one step, if we can go from step 1 to step 18, why wait 18 iterations?
And then you turn up the heat to 18 and the frog jumps out and calls you in front of a meeting and you lie your ass off to the frog about how there was no pot at all.
Like that they could have actually slowly done this in the
And-
way that other negative aspects of like what basically come down to getting more money out of the purchaser.
Yeah.
Right? In video games. That's all these all amount to the same thing.
Yeah.
It's you have your price of entry and then we want more, right?
There's the word, oh God, they don't even use it anymore. They used to use the word recurrent user spending, but now they don't even.
I've never heard that.
Oh, you've never? Oh,
I've been in this industry for a long time. I've literally never heard
I
that.
remember reading it a lot in like fucking investor shit. But now it's become obfuscated, in which they talk about engagement and how much engagement they have.
Yeah.
And engagement means two things. Engagement means how long people stick around, but it also means how long people stick around with their money.
Yes, but in a much more like obvious way, engagement is straight up like interaction with things, like because that is currency in and of itself.
Well, you know how you keep interacting with it, right? Right, with the money.
Sure, but in a lot of cases,
But that's what I mean.
in a lot of cases though, the influential kid in grade 9 who gets all of his friends into the game
Yeah.
is just as valuable
Yeah.
as like the one person who's occasionally spending a little bit here and there, you know, because the idea is like one of those kids will be a whale or will lead to a whale, you know. But anyway, yeah, so we get this clown shoes state of affairs now.
It's extra crazy because it's like it's not a legal proceeding where you have to dance and like don't say the wrong thing because then your shit'll fall apart. It's like you're trying to convince these people, and everyone that you're talking to, just you can see it in their face, is like, are you for real with this shit right now?
It is a corporation. It is a giant company doing the equivalent of rolling out of bed with Coke on their fucking beard.
Yeah.
And showing up and straightening their tie and going, Your Honor, what? Yeah.
I don't even know what cocaine is.
You're out of order.
Is that a soft drink?
You know? Like you know, and putting your hand on the Bible and being like, I don't swear to shit. Like, you know, like literally just going into it. Really is just you really could have done so much more damage if you controlled your impulses, but the fucking greed inside,
You know what's gonna bite
the blood in the boner got so turgid that you couldn't help but turn it up to the max.
You know what's going to end up biting them in the ass super hard? All the attempts they made to head this off at the past that were weak shit are going to be used as proof that the shit is real. You remember when, oh God, what was it? NBA Live was like telling Belgian people to like call their representatives and tell them that the loot boxes in NBA Live were totally cool and that they don't need to legislate it? Do you remember that? That was like the start of like the whole situation getting like, how are you supposed to then go in front of whatever fucking body and go, nah, man, we don't even know what that is? Like,
is it possible? Is it possible to gaslight an entire nation? Can that be done?
Yes, but it's tough.
Oh wow, yeah. The best part about the story, in which EA's VP of Legal Government Affairs refuses to use the term loot boxes in favor of surprise mechanics and compares them to Kinder Eggs, which are not gambling, but quite ethical. The best part of that story is underneath the tweet where Hard Drive Magazine, a.k.a. The Hard Times, straight up just replies and says, I don't remember writing this. And they're the video game equivalent of The Onion.
It's great.
Straight up just being like, wow, really?
I'm very fond of a phrase, don't piss on me and tell me it's raining.
You've used it quite a few times, including today.
They are like, it's a fucking thunderstorm out here. It's so silly that I can't help but chuckle because it's silly.
I mean, I kind of even applaud the room of people that went, okay, guys, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Kinder Surprise.
Ooh, that's like a
Who has not bought their child a Kinder Surprise? And you go, ever bought a Happy Meal? Do you know what's going to be inside that Happy Meal? You don't know what that toy is going to be. Does the kid love it? Yes, he does. What are we looking at? Surprise. You didn't know what you were getting. Was the Happy Meal free? No, it wasn't. You had to buy that fucking meal. Kid's happy at the end of it. Why? Because he didn't know what toy he was getting. Fucking raise. Immediately. How do we put that in a soundbite and put that in front of a bunch of old people that don't understand video games? Because to be fair, they really fucking don't. And a lot of the time, like, these things are almost embarrassing how little they understand about technology when they're going into these questionings. But, like, yeah. Like, the balls on the team that came up with that.
Your Honor, I was just worried that my wife was overheating, so I filled her with speed holes.
Aerodynamic.
To ventilate her so that she would feel better.
So, yeah. That was an irresistible story off the top.
I forgot that happened this week. That feels like ages ago.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, if you want to double dunk on it...
Why not?
Right? That leads right hand in hand to... the other very similar story, which, you know, much to everyone's surprise, it turns out that NBA 2K19 fans are not really happy with the level of increased unskippable in-game ads.